And welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It is today at the 500 live at Fast Friday practice here at the Open Wheels 500. It is day 4 practice, the last day for drivers to hit the track in preparations before this weekend's pit lane parlay qualifications. It's pole day tomorrow, where the pole sitter for the 2020 Open Wheels 500-mile race presented by Mitchell Transmissions will be set. And then Sunday, we will set the field of 33 bump day. It cuts the entry list of 110 competitors down to just 33. I'm Tanner Watkins, host of Today at the 500. Fortunately, no Carter McCue this evening, but we'll make sure to give you all the info, all the coverage you need to be prepared for tomorrow's pole day qualifications as we get ready for what is certainly going to be an exciting 24 hours of track time over the next 2 days. Well, drivers have been out on track this evening. We've had, at this point, 7 hours of coverage on track. We were on Open Wheels TV for the first 6, and you got to see all of Fast Friday practice up to this point. We'll bring in our leaderboard with just 56 minutes remaining in practice and give you just a little bit of a rundown, pick up where we left off on the practice broadcast. Earlier this morning, it was Dakota DiCienzo within the first hour. It was actually at 1:38 p.m. It was early this afternoon. Dakota set the fastest lap of the day, 38.618 second lap. He's completed 28 laps on the afternoon. Evan Adams, the All-American iRacers number 59 machine, second fastest at 38.810 seconds on his day. Wilson Neto, his best lap is third quick, 38.835 with 33 laps complete. Marco Brazil, fellow Brazilian driver, 38.864 on his best lap. Jesper Orman was fifth fastest to this point, 38.866 his quickest. And rounding out the top 10, Ray Kingsbury, Niall McBride, Logan Simmons, Brian Barney, and Dylan Freckleton. Each of the top 10 drivers running laps quicker than 39.0 seconds. But it's been a quick show so far today. In total, we've had 37 drivers post times, all times faster than a 39.6 second lap. So that means the entire field today separated by just 0.9 of a second as we head into pole day qualifications tomorrow. And we know that margin will be even more razor thin when we get to the top 33. Well, just giving you a little bit of a rundown of today's practice, today's show. We're going to have Arjuna Kankapati on. He is a commentator, producer, creative mind, wears many hats at Race Spot TV, and one of the guys that's making things happen for this year's Open Wheels 500 on Race Spot. He was part of last night's qualifications draw, so great to have Arjuna on. We'll pick his brain a little bit about what he's observed so far at the 2020 Open Wheels 500 and look ahead a little bit to pole day and bump day qualifications. And we'll also have Adam Crane joining the show. That'll be in segment 3. He's driver of the number 34 VRS Chevrolet for Satellite Racing. Adam, a newcomer to the Open Wheels 500, but an experienced driver on the iRacing sim, and definitely going to bring quality to this year's Open Wheels 500. Pretty quiet on our track right now. You see DJ Johnson, the only driver currently on the pit lane. And as we wait for more drivers to head out on track, we'll just hang out in the blimp view for right now and get you a little bit of a briefer on qualifications procedures. So just a reminder, all drivers on the entry list will get 3 attempts to qualify throughout the entire weekend. You could use 1 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, perhaps none on Saturday, all 3 on Sunday, any combination you like, but the bottom line is only 3 qualifications attempts allowed throughout the entire weekend. most drivers will get an opportunity to qualify in the initial qualifications draw that was held again last night on Race Spot TV, where drivers on the entry form got to select whether they wanted to qualify in Group 1 or Group 2 for their initial qualifications runs. And that meant those drivers will go to their assigned groups between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern Time, make their first runs, and then the track will open for additional qualifying runs throughout the rest of the day on Saturday and all day on Sunday. The only driver locked into the field will be the pole sitter at the end of the day on Saturday. The quickest driver at the end of pole day qualifications tomorrow will be the pole sitter for the 2020 Open Wheels 500. And throughout the day on Sunday, we'll certainly be looking at that bubble. The 33 fastest drivers make the field. Again, all drivers who qualify on day one and stand on their day one times, they'll be allowed to start on the grid ahead of drivers who either make their first run of the weekend on Sunday or choose to requalify and eliminate their time from Saturday. Anybody with a Sunday qualifications time that is in the fastest 33, they'll start behind those day two qualifiers. So an interesting twist on qualifications here on iRacing, but we do it similar to the way they used to do it at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a little bit of a traditional view of qualifying at IMS. Quiet on the track at the moment, so we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors in this year's Open Wheels 500. Of course, our presenting sponsor, Mitchell Transmissions. Big thanks to them and everything that they do in supporting this event. I don't think we would be here today and having the event that we've had thus far. Great positive reception from the drivers and those viewing our broadcast. Thanks to all of you that are watching right now on Open Wheels TV. It's been really a positive reception towards this year's expanded production feeds and whatnot. We're very excited in those positive returns. So thanks to Mitchell Transmissions for again being our presenting sponsor. Big thanks to Mike Olette, who runs the Major Series and the Majors Garage. They've been presenting sponsors of our broadcasts here on Open Wheels TV throughout the first week, and they'll do the same for week 2. And the Majors Garage is the official setup shop of the Open Wheels 500. So make sure to check them out for not only some assistance during the Open Wheels 500, but for any other iRacing interests that you may have outside of the IndyCar. Also like to give thanks to Pit Lane Parlay, official sponsor of the Pit Lane Parlay Pole Award that will be decided tomorrow afternoon. And they're also the overall sponsor of Qualifications Weekend. So big thanks to Pit Lane Parlay, another sponsor to come back from 2019 and help support this year's event. Well, we're getting ready for segment 2. Right now, no drivers out on track. Again, Dakota DiCienzo, the fastest driver in this session. So when we get a moment, we'll do a little bit of non-stop when we get some drivers out on track. But for the moment, getting ready for segment 2, Arjuna Kankapati, again, commentator, producer for Race Spot TV. He's going to join us. We'll talk about last night's qualifying draw and what he looks forward to at Qualifications Weekend. You're watching Today at the 500 on Open Wheels TV. We'll be back in just a few moments. Coverage of the 2020 Open Wheels 500 is brought to you by the Majors Series, presenting partner of Open Wheels 500 broadcast. Mitchell Transmissions, presenting sponsor of the Open Wheels 500. Pit Lane Parlay Podcast. Listen to Pit Lane Parlay today on all major podcast platforms. And the Majors Garage, the official setup shop of the Open Wheels 500. And welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's day 4 practice, Fast Friday at IMS. As we work our way ever so closer to pole day qualifications, less than 12 hours from now, we will be out on track. And at this point, we'll already have been a couple hours into qualifications, 12 hours from now. It's going to be an early morning for those of us on the East Coast, and certainly looking forward to getting things underway and seeing who will lead the storylines in qualifications tomorrow. You see Craig Hawkins out on track right there, pushing his car to the limits, running well high in turn 4 and ending up in the wall. But again, part of those storylines, we'll talk to Arjuna Kinkapati in just a little bit about that. One of those storylines is how qualifications will unfold and what that means for our track record at the Open Wheels 500. That was set by Young O last year. He also has the iRacing Indy 500 track record. So we'll see what we can do about perhaps breaking that record tomorrow during pole day. Well, I'm going to take the time to do a little rundown through the qualifications draw. The draw was held yesterday evening on Race Spot TV. Again, we had it live on Race Spot with Arjuna joining me with the draw, and he had some awesome graphics up. Helped the drivers figure out where they were going to essentially start their qualifications weekend. And running through Group 1 real quick, Simon Bryant was the first driver going off in Group 1. The notables include Jesper Orman. He'll go off 5th. Young O is slated to go off 6th. Austin Espety 7th. Josh Chin 8th. AJ Burton 9th. And you go down the list a little bit farther. Former iRacing Indy 500 pole sitter Rick Music. He'll go off 17th. Joe Branch 19th. Tim Doyle, former iRacing Indy 500 winner, will go off 20th in the order. Dakota DiCienzo, a qualifier in last year's Open Wheels 500. He'll be 22nd. A little bit further down the line, Wilson Neto will go off 28th. He was a front row qualifier at the Open Wheels 500 last year, and he's that purple car in your shot right now. Rob Powers will go off 31st, driver for Team Talent and Kinetic Racing. Henry Bennett, one of our podium finishers last year, he'll be 32nd in the order. Andrew Wood, he'll go off 33rd. Last year he finished one spot behind that number in qualifying, but made the field when Brandon Trano had to drop out. A little bit further down the order, 37th for Dylan Freckleton. He was an independent entry that made the race last year. And towards the bottom, Michael Hagstrom, a notable from this year. He's been hitting it hard in practice, and we expect him to have a strong showing on Saturday and Sunday. So that takes care of Group 1. In Group 2, Matt Kingsbury kicks things off, followed by Aaron Roofs. AJ Musselman will be the next driver up, and then Matt Hollabaugh and Andrew Kinsella. Those are the first 5 scheduled drivers in Group 2. Those are spots 44 through 48 overall in the qualifications draw. Marco Brazil will be 50th in the qual draw. He's 4th fastest so far tonight and a former iRacing Indy 500 pole sitter. Randy Cheneth will go off 51st. He's a commentator for Race Spot TV for last year's Open Wheels 500, but he's trying to make the show for this year's event. A little bit further down the line, former iRacing Indy 500 winner Adam Blocker, he'll go off 55th. Christian Schallner, he'll be 56th. He's a NASCAR Coca-Cola racer in the pro division here on iRacing, so great to have Christian over in racing here in the Open Wheels 500. John Downing, he'll be 57th in line, followed by Jason Brophy in 58th. Riley Thompson, he made the Open Wheels 500 last year. He'll qualify 62nd in the order, followed by Niall McBride in 64th. He just narrowly missed the show in 2019. Matt Pavelski, he'll roll off 66th, followed by Evan Adams 67th. Evan is the second fastest driver in today's session. A little bit further down the line, Brendan Lichtenberg, he'll start 76th in the order. That number 10 machine, he's a former iRacing Indy 500 winner in his own right. And further down the line, 84th for Hugo Olsen. He's with Powerslide Motorsports this year after being a standalone entry in 2019. I'm sorry, he was with Three Crowns Racing in 2019. Brandon Trano, we don't expect him to get to make a qualifications attempt on Saturday, but if he does, he'll be the 85th in that qualifications line. Chad Simpson, teammate of Adam Crane, who we'll talk to later for Satellite Racing, he'll be 88th. Andreas Eek, 90th. 91st for Ray Kingsbury, a winner at the iRacing Indy 500 this past year. Michele Costantini, our reigning champion at the Open Wheels 500. He will be 95th in line. Chris Demerit, multi-time iRacing Indy 500 top split winner and a feature race winner at the iRacing Indy 500. He'll be 97th. And rounding out the order is 98th for David Adams and 99th for Chris Stouffer. You may wonder, well, we've got 110 drivers on the entry list for this year's race, but just 99 drivers in the qualifications draw. That's because drivers could elect to skip the qualifications draw and make runs at a later point in the weekend if they so choose. And we had 11 drivers select that option for the 2020 race. So right now we got a little bit of action out on track. You see the Brazilian drivers, Wilson Neto and Fabio Viana, working together on a little bit of race pace. Wilson third fastest in the session and Fabio 12th fastest. Well, now we're getting ready to bring in a driver to tonight's show that's done a lot to help us out on the Race Spot TV platform at the Open Wheels 500. It's Arjuna Kankapati joining us in the studio for today at the 500. Welcome to the program, sir.
Hey, Tanner, glad to be here, and yeah, excited to get ready to kick off what is the start of competitions for the Open Wheel 500 this year.
Yeah, no, we're certainly excited. Qualifying again about 10 hours from now. We'll get rolling with the first runs in the initial draw. But before we get to that stuff, I saw you put on social media the other day. You've been quite busy throughout the year of 2020 producing and commentating on broadcasts. You put some stats up, but just for those listening at home, exactly what do you do for Race Spot? You wear many hats, and how busy have you actually been this year?
Yeah, so I actually only joined Race Spot back in, it was at the end of March, beginning of April, so it's not been that long in terms of my broadcasting history, but yeah, since then it's been, about 200 days, and I've been part of, as of this weekend, I'm going to hit 100 events, and I get to wear many hats, like you say. I do some commentary. I do a lot of production, which is obviously showing the pictures and whatnot on the back end side of things. And the one thing I get to do, which I have a lot of fun with, and I got to do this year with the IndyCar iRacing series, is I get to do both at the same time, which is something that only really Will Vincent does, and it's kind of like rubbing your head while patting your stomach. It's tough, and Connery Maddock described it as having your processor pegged at like 100% because you're trying to see so many things. But yeah, it's been a busy time on Race Spot. I've got 5 events coming up this weekend, and then one more on Monday night. So yeah, it's busy, but Open Wheels has been something that's been a big focus for us. We were talking a lot coming into the previous few weeks, Tanner, about how much we wanted this event to be special, and it was great to be able to do the qualifying draw yesterday. That was something that, me, Hugo Luis, Tyler Maxon had been working on in the background, trying to figure out how we wanted to put that on, and great. It went off almost perfectly, other than me forgetting to put the sound back on after one of our breaks midway through, but excited for qualifying this weekend. We got some more stuff to show off, and then come the race next week, we got even more stuff to show off. So it's going to be a fun week and a half, and super excited that we get to continue this partnership that was really started last year.
Yeah, right now talking to Arjuna Kankapati, commentator and producer, creative mind extraordinaire for Race Spot TV. And you mentioned the qualifications draw last night. That was such a cool experience for us to be able to have a support event shown by what we believe is the leading sim racing broadcaster in this industry. And it just speaks to the evolution of this relationship between the Open Wheels 500 and Race Spot TV. And we were so excited to bring that draw to a Race Spot broadcast. We had some interesting folks pop up on the draw order. I know Young O, the pole sitter for last year's race, he's going to go off early on, and then Michele Cosentini on the flip side in Group 2, he's going to go off towards the very end. We certainly had some interesting developments in last night's qualifications draw just before we even get to qualifying weekend.
Absolutely. And we talked about yesterday during the qualifying draw the butterflies that I think some of these drivers are going to be feeling coming over the next few days, because I got to experience my very first iRacing Indy 500 this year with a proper team. That was an experience, trying to put in as many qualifying runs as you can every single day, trying to nail it, that one perfect run. Whereas here you get 3 opportunities and that's it. You're in or you're out. So I think for someone like Young O, who's rolling off 6th, there's a lot of pressure, and he's talked to you about those butterflies, but at the same time, going off 6th, no one else has really set lap times. We're expecting many lap records to be broken. I wonder if he's going to break it early, and we might not actually see anyone else go faster the rest of the day. So it's going to be a very interesting thing to watch, given that he's rolling off so early in the morning.
Yeah, and also, you never know with computers and fickle beasts like these machines, if somehow Young O doesn't appear in that first group and he has to make a run either later in the day or perhaps even Sunday, then it's like who's the next man up and who could also steal the headlines at that point.
And I think there's a lot of new drivers to this year's event as well. We talked, you mentioned some of the satellite racing guys, for example. They're coming in with a strong contingent of drivers, first time to the Open-Wheels 500. You got the likes of Dallas Pataska, Nick Rowland, there's a few more there. Then you've also got the likes of someone like Hugo Olsen, who is obviously my teammate. He's recently joined Powerslide Motorsports. You've got someone like that who's recently stepped up to a more established team as well. What can he do? He made the field last year. Is he going to be able to go a little bit better, a little bit stronger? And then you've always got the likes of, the bigger teams, the Team I5Gs, the Powerslide Motorsports. What are they going to do as outfit? I can just speak for my teammates. They're working hard on qualifying. Unfortunately, one of our 4 representatives, Chris Stouffer, is having some wheel issues. So, when precision and executing your run is so important, like it is in qualifying, that's going to be something that Chris is going to have to overcome. But I'm hoping that, Powerslide Motorsports can get a few drivers in, and I'm hoping that we honestly get to see one of the strongest Indy 500 field we've seen across of iRacing, not just here in open wheels competition, but we've got a great entry list here, but only 33 drivers can make it, and anything can happen when you only get 3 runs.
Yeah, and certainly last year there were a couple former iRacing Indy 500 top split winners that missed out on the show. That was Ryan Norton and Jonathan Goke. So the odds are there will be somebody, a big name or two on the outside looking in by the end of the day on Sunday, and that's certain to shake some things up. Right now talking to Arjuna Kankapati as we roll along in Fast Friday practice, just about 30 minutes remaining in practice today. Dakota DiCienzo continues to lead the way atop the leaderboard, a best lap of 38.618 seconds. Well, Arjuna, you mentioned just a little while ago, we're likely to see some shuffling atop the Open Wheels lap record leaderboard. The previous 4-lap average record was a 229.925 mile an hour 4-lapper from Young O last year, and Young O also holds the 4-lap record now for the iRacing Indy 500 set back in May. We're expecting speeds not only above that 229 mark, but all the way through the 230s and perhaps even up to 231 if we're lucky tomorrow.
And I think this is where the additional time since the month of May is going to benefit some of the teams that have continued working, because, you know, so much extra speed. I think there was a lot of work put in by all the various outfits in the month of May trying to figure out how best to set up the car. But now they've had a bigger opportunity to step back, maybe reevaluate their philosophies, and with those increased speeds comes the increased need to manage your tires, and that's something that's so crucial, especially when you have the warm-up lap, which of course we have a new regulation this year. It must be completed in 60 seconds, so tires are going to be the most crucial thing. And I remember, you know, trying to qualify in the month of May, that lap 4 was so awful. And again, I can't stress this enough. I'm glad I'm in the commentary booth for this one and not out on track, because
that's how I feel too.
Yeah, there's only 3 attempts. I'd hate to be out there feeling those nerves and feeling the anxiety of not knowing if I'm in. And, you know, like we say, there may be a few drivers who unfortunately are on the outside looking in, but fortunately, I guess they'll have the wonderful broadcast to tune into come race day. So I guess it could be worse.
It could be worse, yeah. And for us, as organizers of the race, you know, I've personally been in those top split 500s, and you got to experience the drama of qualifying this past May and so forth. You know, even established guys such as, you know, a Henry Bennett or a Christopher Demerit, even the young O's of the world, you know, you're sitting there, you make your first run, and perhaps it wasn't as strong as you had hoped. You almost put a banker run in, and now you're kind of sitting on your second run and expecting to go faster the second time out and have an accident. Now you're at the end of your line. It's run number 3, and there's no tomorrow. This is the time to do it. That's when the nerves really begin to set in.
And I think for 2 drivers specifically who I'm interested to see how they handle the pressure is 2 Apex teammates for Team I5G, the Michele Constantini and Zach Campbell, because they're also trying to qualify for the Porsche Esports Super Cup, and there's a lot of pressure riding there. You know, you're fighting for the opportunity to compete at the top level of sim racing to get $100,000 in the lion's share of the $300,000 prize pool. So, you know, they're in 2 high pressure situations tomorrow. They've got to get the points in qualifying. They've also got to come and set the lap times in qualifying for the Open Wheels 500. So there's a lot of pressure on some of these drivers, and a lot of commitment. So a lot of pressure and a lot of work goes into this event. And yeah, I think qualifying is going to be very, very interesting to see how it plays out.
Certainly, and as the weekend progresses, you move into day 2 qualifying, and any time set on day 2, we're going to line up behind our day 1 qualifiers. So the margins and the intensity only picks up, and the stakes are always raised on bump day. Oh, before I let you go, Arjuna, real quick, any predictions for the weekend? I'm not gonna put you in the spot and ask you for the pole sitter, perhaps, but maybe some headlines to look out for those that'll be tuning in throughout the day on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, I'll go ahead and put in a prediction. I think Youngo is going to get the pole position. There's just something about this place and that guy. He shows up when he needs to, and, you know, 6th out on track, fresh track. He's not going to have too much to worry about. I think he'll go and put in a record-setting lap time that I don't know will be broken for the rest of the day. In terms of other predictions, I think we'll see a few new names to the Open Wheels 500, that's for sure. I have a feeling we're also going to see some bigger names miss out, so we'll see how that plays out, and if some drivers unfortunately don't get to be in the big show, but nevertheless, qualifying should be a great day, and I think something that a lot of people have been waiting for. It's a long time coming, the 2020 edition of the Open Wheels 500.
That was Arjuna Kankapati, commentator, producer for Race Spot TV. Big thanks, Arjuna, for joining us on tonight's show, and looking forward to the qualifications broadcast this weekend. Well, that does it for our second segment of the evening. When we come back, it'll be sorry, when we come back, it'll be Adam Crane. Just about 60 seconds from now, you're listening to Today at the 500 on Open Wheels TV. And welcome back to Today at the 500 live here on Fast Friday. It's the final day before pole day qualifications begin Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. We just finished up with our guest, Arjuna Kankapati, with Race Spot TV. And now we're going to bring another driver into the fray. It's our first driver interview of the evening. But we're talking to now Adam Crane. He's driver the number 34 machine, the VRS Chevrolet for Satellite Racing. Adam, welcome to the program and welcome to the 2020 Open Wheels 500.
Hi, Tanner. Happy to be talking with you today, day before the big day.
Yeah, certainly. Just got done talking to Arjuna and talked about the pressure that's certainly mounting as drivers get ready for pole day qualifying tomorrow and then the big day on bump day where we'll set that field of 33. Just talk about your Open Wheels 500 experience so far. You're one of the newcomers that we're certainly going to be watching throughout the weekend and think that could make a bit of a splash this year.
Yeah, hoping so. Definitely heard about the Open Wheels 500 through the year this year. Unfortunately, I didn't take part in it last year. I did watch, but it was something that I wasn't necessarily the most prepared with doing with the IndyCar. But everything that I've heard about the event leading up to the race and including the race has been just absolutely phenomenal. One of the best events on iRacing. So there's definitely a lot of pressure, especially now that I'm more accustomed to driving in the IndyCar, to make the race and perform well.
Right now talking to Adam Crane, driver for Satellite Racing. You've got quite a great team around you. Chad Simpson, a teammate of yours who just missed the show last year. Nick Rowland, Dallas Pataska. What's it like working with that group of guys, and how have they helped really get you prepared for this year's race?
Yeah, it's been great. The interplay with the team, trying to figure out different setup combinations, working on lines, just helping everyone out. It's a real communal atmosphere, which I definitely enjoy, having been mostly a privateer for most of my time in the IndyCar. Yeah, having Bluesy part of the team definitely is a big boost. His knowledge with the IndyCar, especially at Indy, huge bonus. And definitely happy to have him next to me for the race.
So as we move through this week leading into qualifications, what exactly has been your focus in practice, and how does your team feel about the qualifying runs setting up for Saturday and Sunday?
I would say we're still a little interested to see what kind of pace everyone else has. Obviously, that warm-up lap and out lap definitely has a different effect on how practices look relative to how preparations went for the Indy 500. So trying to figure out the best way to manage the tires and the temperature and pressures heading through that warm-up lap has definitely been arguably the biggest part of what our practice and testing has been. As far as testing and practice goes, Man, it's been a hell of a ride. Lots of laps. Just spent trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. And now that sort of the group more or less has an understanding of what's required to really run at pace to hit the sort of target lap times that we're thinking that we'll find for qualifying, it's definitely been stressful but enjoyable.
Right now talking to Adam Crane, driver of the number 34 VRS Chevrolet for Satellite Racing, a newcomer to the Open Wheels 500, but a veteran and established now in the iRacing IndyCar community. You talk about the laps and the practice that's gone into preparing for this event. Really, for any major 500 here on iRacing, what is, for somebody who may be listening at home and isn't as aware of what it takes, exactly what kind of preparation goes into making these top split events and being part of that upper percentile of drivers that really are just incredibly quick at this level?
It's hard to describe the kind of mental toughness you have or you need to have to really be able to run the consistent laps over and over and over again.
Yeah, good point.
Even when it's looking like the run that you're running or the setup that you're running, depending on what slight variation you're running with, regardless of what that looks like, you still need to run lap 2, lap 3, lap 4 to just build into your head. You still need to maximize whatever the run's going to give you, and that's probably one of the hardest things to really try to get your head around. I mean, the mental toughness is certainly, I'd say, the biggest part, but not too far behind is just being able to physically drive the car millimeter perfect every lap, every corner, maximizing your apex speed, your exit speed, trying to reduce scrub through every corner that you run through, and just maximizing everything. 10/10 sort of mentality is just, it's really hard to stay focused and physically ready for 4 laps, and that's probably the thing that I found hardest about with my 400 or my 500 quali attempts. And I'm definitely finding still a difficult but enjoyable aspect of qualifying for the Open Wheel 500. I mean, pressure is a luxury. So if we don't sort of embrace it and appreciate it, then great things will never really happen to us.
No, that's a great quote and a great point to make. I know personally for myself, whenever I know I'm on a good Q run at Indianapolis, the butterflies just build throughout the run. On laps 1 and 2, I know there's a ton of grip in the car and I can make it work fairly easily, but the real challenge sets in on laps 3 and 4 when you're on a heater, you're on a good run, and now it's time to put it away and lock it in. That's when it gets the hardest for me personally. Looking at the Open Wheels 500 as a whole, what is it about this event that's really drawn you in, and what is it that you've experienced now that you've been a part of it through this first week that really validated your ideas of coming here after watching it on Race Spot last year?
I think the strength of the community. One thing about IndyCar is that it's pretty niche relative to the larger sim racing and iRacing communities, but man, this IndyCar community is just awesome, and having such a strong, vibrant community respond so strongly to this particular event really just heightens the importance of it. With me, I'm sure with everyone else, given how strong the expected participation is going to be, and having Race Spot along definitely just validates just how important this race is to the IndyCar community as a whole, and I think on the larger scheme, how important it can be to sim racing and iRacing.
No, great points indeed, and I appreciate the kind words. One of our last questions, still got a couple more, and a great interview so far. Thanks for joining us, Adam. You're from Canada. Only one
I know,
Canadian,
eh?
only one Canadian driver made the field last year. It was Dakota DiCienzo. So you're looking to make it at least 2 drivers who have made it in this race's history. Going back through the years, who were your influencers and the individuals as a racing fan growing up that really got you into the sport?
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Paul Tracy was part of the IndyCar lore that I definitely watched quite a bit growing up. His exuberance was just infectious. Most of my younger years, I was more of a Jeff Gordon NASCAR fan, but
I'm with you there.
my father still watched a lot of IndyCar when I was younger. I actually had the good fortune of watching quite a bit of Greg Moore before he passed away. So seeing some of his races and a couple of his race wins definitely also made me feel like there. I don't want to say there was a role in racing for me, but definitely having his influence and Paul's influence and being around racing for the better part of my life has made me feel like sim racing is something that can definitely fill a large hobby and interest of mine. So I would say on the IndyCar side, definitely Paul and Greg, and in a larger sense, Jeff 24 ever gotta ride or die with him.
No, that's true. I've told my family if Jeff Gordon ever comes out of retirement at any race, I'm gonna have to be there in some capacity. I was able to go to his last race at Martinsville and missed the Daytona 24, but definitely a big Jeff Gordon supporter, and he's what got me into racing as well. A couple more I'll give you. The quickest question: if you're able to look into your crystal ball, Adam, and not only do you get to qualify for the race this weekend, but you perform well next weekend on November 15th, what would it mean to you to be able to take the win, perhaps, at the Open Wheels 500?
Oh, it'd be huge. As much as I love the fact that I won the 2020 iRacing IndyCar Championship, I would say that winning this race would be definitely more important to me personally as a sim racer. For one thing, we've got all the heavy hitters who are trying to win this race, but then also the fact that it's set off by such a great organization like Open Wheels. It's Indy, it's on race spot, and yeah, it's just top tier racing.
Awesome. Well, before I let you go, Adam, I'd be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to talk about any sponsors backing your effort and folks that have helped get that number 34 machine on the track for satellite racing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, everyone at Satellite Racing, all my teammates, Chad, Nick, Cy, Aaron, everyone at VRS as well for being of some assistance with setups throughout both my time in the IndyCar and also for the race. Ellis Engineering. I mean, there's so many I couldn't fit them all in here.
Awesome. Well, that's Adam Crane, driver of the number 34 machine for Satellite Racing with sponsorship from VRS. Thanks again, Adam, for joining the program tonight. A little bit on short notice, too, but an excellent interview, and I wish you the best of luck this weekend.
No worries. Thanks so much, Tanner. And yeah, fingers crossed. Good luck for tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to speak to you from the podium at Indy next week.
Awesome. Well, that's Adam Crane, everybody. He'll be out there tomorrow and Sunday putting in qualifications runs at Pit Lane Parlay Qualifications Weekend. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, have our final segment of Today at the 500 show, and then we'll get you set for pole day qualifications tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back in just a few moments. It's Fast Friday practice at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Coverage of the 2020 Open Wheels 500 is brought to you by the Majors Series, presenting partner of Open Wheels 500 broadcast. Mitchell Transmissions, presenting sponsor of the Open Wheels 500. Pit Lane Parlay Podcast. Listen to Pit Lane Parlay today on all major podcast platforms. And the Majors Garage, the official setup shop of the Open Wheels 500. And welcome back to Today at the 500, a Fast Friday edition of Today at the 500, as we get set for qualifications weekend here at the Open Wheels 500-mile race. Final moments of Fast Friday practice unfolding right here. Just about 4 minutes remaining in practice today. Dakota DiCienzo continues to lead the way in practice, followed by Evan Adams, Wilson Neto, Marco Brazil, and Jesper Orman in the top 5. Just got done talking to Adam Crane with Satellite Racing. Earlier we talked to Arjuna Kankapati. He predicted that Young O would once again take the pole at the Open Wheels 500. We'll see if his prediction bears fruit tomorrow. We'll know the pole sitter by the end of the day on Saturday. Again, just to review, you'll be able to watch every second of qualifications across Open Wheels TV and Race Spot TV tomorrow and Sunday. Each day we start things off at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Our broadcast live on Open Wheels TV, and that'll carry you all the way to 5 p.m. Eastern Time when Race Spot TV takes the baton, and they'll go from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern, again on Race Spot to close out both pole day and bump day qualifications. Looking through the practice board at this moment, 38 drivers have made laps at the Speedway today. We've talked about the top 10, but just outside the top 10, some notables from last year's race. Returning driver would be Craig Hawkins. He didn't make the show last year. He's 20th fastest to this point. Jeffrey Stanton was also on last year's entry list. He's 26th overall. Pierre Bourdon, 28th fastest, followed by Tyson Landis in 30th. And the next man, the final driver on today's practice leaderboard that was a part of last year's race, Raul Alvarez, 38th overall. But out of all 38 drivers who have placed times today, by my quick count, and let me double check it just to make sure here, it appears there's only 5 drivers who have made times on track today that were part of that field of 33 at last year's inaugural race. So what that means, there's a lot of practice going on behind the scenes right now, and we'll unveil pretty much the full slate of speed tomorrow. That's when everybody has to put their cards on the table. There's nothing else left to hide, and that's when things really begin. The week of race week really begins in earnest with qualifications, and that's when the event really kicks off. Just about a couple minutes left in practice, and we shift our attention just for a moment a little bit past qualifications weekend. On Tuesday, we'll bring things back to Today at the 500. That'll be the next time we go on air. That'll be again at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at the end of another 1 to 9 p.m. practice day. All the practice coverage and Today at the 500 will be shown Tuesday and Thursday right here on Open Wheels TV. And same goes for Today at the 500. Then on Friday, that'll be November the 13th, 1 week from today, we'll have Veterans 100 qualifying live on Race Spot TV beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll take us right into race weekend. The day before the 500, that'll be Saturday, November the 14th. Final practice for the Open Wheels 500 will be shown right here on Open Wheels TV from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. And that'll lead right into the 2 p.m. broadcast, beginning with the Veterans 100, followed by the pit stop competition on Race Spot TV. And that sets the stage for race day, Sunday, November the 15th. Our coverage on Open Wheels TV beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time with the pre-race show, followed by the official worldwide broadcast live on Race Spot TV beginning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Arjuna Kankapati said they've got some awesome things up their sleeves for the Race Spot broadcast. I'm certainly looking forward to it and seeing what they whip out. It should be a great time at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Calling an end to a practice right now. Looks like Andrew Marquez is the final driver out on track this evening. Dakota DiCienzo did finish the practice atop the leaderboard. And that'll bring an end to practice today. DiCienzo, Adams, Neto, Brazil, Orman, Kingsbury, McBride, Logan Simmons, Brian Barney, and Dylan Freckleton. That's your top 10 from Fast Friday practice. We're getting set for pole day qualifications. 9 hours from now, we'll go green with the first set of qualifying runs and get you set for what's certainly going to be an exciting weekend at the Open Wheels 500. Big thanks to all of our sponsors. That includes Mitchell Transmissions, presenting sponsor of the Open Wheels 500. The Majors Series, presenting sponsor of broadcasts on Open Wheels TV. The Majors Garage, official setup garage of the Open Wheels 500. And Pit Lane Parlay, the official sponsor of the Pit Lane Parlay Pull Award, as well as the Qualifications Weekend presenting sponsor. Additional thanks to ABC, Faye Constantine at ABC Music for allowing us usage of the IndyCar on ABC theme. Awesome to have that a part of our broadcast here in 2020. And thanks to everybody who's tuned in and watched our qualifications and qualifications draw and practice shows this week. We're really excited to bring you pole day qualifications tomorrow, again live here at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, and then you can catch the final hour coverage 5 p.m. on Race Spot TV. For everybody at Open Wheels Motorsports Sanctioning, we thank you for tuning into today's broadcast. We'll see you again soon on pole day.